Welcome to The Explainer. We're about to dive into what looks like a really simple choice from the book of Deuteronomy. You follow the rules, you get a blessing. You don't, you get a curse. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? But it turns out, hidden inside the original text is a fascinating puzzle that completely flips our understanding of what a blessing even is.
So on the surface, this couldn't be clearer. The text sets up this perfect, balanced choice between two paths. There's a blessing for obedience and a curse for disobedience. It feels like a simple cause and effect deal, Two equal and opposite options. Or is it?
Because when you look just a little bit closer at the original Hebrew, this weird imbalance starts to show up. One side of this equation is described very, very differently from the other. And it's that imbalance that holds the key to the entire passage.
Okay, let's get right into the puzzle at the heart of this text. As the verse continues, you'd probably expect the descriptions of the blessing and the curse to be perfect mirror images of each other. But, well, they're not equal at all. Just look at the difference here. It's striking, isn't it? The condition for the blessing is incredibly short, simple, to the point. But the description of the curse, it's way more detailed. It paints this really clear picture of what disobedience actually looks like, turning aside to worship tangible, physical, other gods.
Now, this isn't just the author getting a little wordy. This is a deliberate choice. It's pointing us toward a really profound distinction between these two ways of being. This is our first major clue that the blessing and the curse aren't just different outcomes, they're different kinds of reality.
And that leads us right to the first piece of the solution. The clue is really in understanding the fundamental nature of what curse and blessing actually mean here.
The curse is so detailed because it's all about idolatry, worshiping something physical, something concrete. An idol, by its very nature, is a finished product. There's no mystery, no depth. It's a static reality that doesn't ask anything more of you. What you see is literally what you get.
But the blessing, in stark contrast, is described vaguely for a reason. It's because it isn't a fixed, concrete thing you can just grab and hold. It's an ongoing, abstract relationship. It's a dynamic process of connection that you just can't pin down with a simple description. It's not a destination, it's a direction.
And what's really cool is that this whole idea is baked right into the original Hebrew words. Brakah, the word for blessing, is connected to the word for knee, which implies this posture of kneeling down to receive something of substance. But kalala, the word for curse, is related to words that mean lightness and emptiness, a reality that's basically hollow.
Okay, so let's move on to our next clue. This one takes that abstract idea and connects it to a really strange geographical contradiction that shows up right here in the text.
So check this out. The text gives us these exact, almost GPS-like coordinates for the symbolic ceremony where the blessing and curse are going to be declared. It's a fixed, known spot on a map. But then, when it talks about the actual central place of worship, the very source of holiness, it suddenly gets intentionally mysterious. It's just called the place.
This just begs the question, right? If this central place of worship is so incredibly important, why is its location a secret? Why give us a detailed map to the ceremony, but not to the sanctuary itself?
The answer to that question is, well, it's everything. It reveals the central message of the entire text, and it solves the puzzle we started with. See, the vagueness isn't a mistake. It's actually an instruction.
The text doesn't just leave us hanging. Instead of giving us a location, it gives us a command, a verb. You shall seek out his dwelling. The answer isn't a place you find on a map, it's an action you have to take.
The key verb here, tredeshu, is so important. This isn't about passively waiting for some revelation to just happen. The root of the word implies an active, continuous effort of investigating, inquiring, and striving. So the blessing isn't a destination you finally arrive at. The true blessing is the act of seeking. It's the journey itself. And that is why the place has to remain unnamed. Think about it. The moment you give it coordinates, the second you can pin it on a map, the search is over. This passage is arguing that holiness isn't a destination, it's a process of discovery. The connection is forged in the seeking.
There's a beautiful parable from Hasidic thought that just perfectly illustrates this whole idea of finding connection, not in some fixed place, but through the active process of searching.
So first, picture a king in his grand palace. It's a fortress of rules and power. It's formal, it's distant, maybe a little intimidating. and only a very select privileged few ever get an audience in this fixed, known location.
But then, the king does something totally unexpected. He leaves the safety and formality of his palace and just walks out into the open field, the common, everyday space where all his people live and work. And out here, away from the cold stone walls, everything changes. He's not some distant monarch anymore. He's open, he's accessible, and he's welcoming to absolutely anyone who just makes the effort to approach him.
The lesson of the parable is just so clear. The deepest, most real connection isn't found by waiting for a formal invitation to the palace. It's found by actively searching for that presence in the open, ordinary fields of our own lives.
So let's bring it all back together. The choice between a blessing and a curse isn't really about a good outcome versus a bad one. It's a choice between two completely different ways of being, a static, finished certainty, or the dynamic, infinite journey of seeking.
In the end, this ancient text isn't just about history or religion. It's posing a timeless question about how we find meaning. It suggests that a true blessing isn't something you find, but something you do. It's the process, the journey, the search itself. And that leaves us with one final thought. What is it that you are seeking?